Defending the Fed's independence is obviously very important, and that will go a long way towards fighting inflation. But a lot of the other ideas that the president laid out today are things that won't take place in the near term or even the medium term. You're talking about much longer investments, things that will take a long time to pay off. Is that almost a tacit admission that this is not going to be a problem that the administration, at least, can correct very quickly, especially with spending programs that would probably be more inflationary?
Well, look, we're still considering a reconciliation package. It could very well have reductions in the cost of prescription drugs that would make a difference to every family that has drug costs as part of its household budget, and that could make a difference very quickly. The president has authorized historic releases from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to try to hold down prices and offset some of the upward pressure that we've seen from Russia's war on Ukraine. So there are things that can be done, and the president is supportive of deficit reduction. We're actually seeing a huge reduction in the deficit. The deficit as a share of GDP is projected to fall below the level in 2019 before the pandemic. And his budget proposes revenue raisers that I think would lead to a fairer tax system, not burden households, any household making under $400,000, and enable us to achieve deficit reduction that would also help to bring inflation down.
When it comes to energy prices, those are obviously a huge issue for Americans right now, the price at the pump, and the SPR releases maybe do something temporarily. But the relief that they've provided in oil prices seems to have been pretty fleeting. Is there any consideration being done in terms of trying to reverse things from Keystone Pipeline or promote more drilling in certain areas, or even just trying to offer incentives to get companies to spend more money, more capital expenditure, oil companies, on trying to take more out of the ground quickly?
You know, the oil companies are sitting on lots of leases that they've not drilled, and the prices that prevail right now in oil markets provide ample incentive for firms to boost production. The Strategic Petroleum releases are very substantial, and I see is filling in the market while waiting for oil producers to ramp up production. The Keystone Pipeline would take years to come online and really is about moving oil rather than producing more oil. And remember, oil prices are set in global markets, not based on domestic production.
So in other words, Brian, I think the short answer to that is no. They're not going to be doing anything with energy policy anytime soon. One thing that really jumped out, though, this idea that they're considering a reconciliation package to go ahead and try and force Medicare to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the drug companies. I don't know if they have the support for that, but the idea that they're considering it was a little bit of a news to me, that it's more than potentially just talk, which I looked at most of those things they put in the op-ed yesterday and thought this is all just talk. They're not going to be able to do much when it comes to inflation with any of these issues. Nothing's going to change, at least in the short or even the middle term, with any of this. But that reconciliation package, if they did it, would be something that maybe the drug companies would have to watch more closely right away.